Well, here in Paris, a controversial change is underway on the city's ring road, or what we call the Périphérique. The mayor, Anne Hidalgo, has lowered its speed limit from 70 to 50 kilometers per hour. That's over about 30 miles an hour. We're going to talk more about this now with Solange Mougin on why this is such a divisive move. I mean, Solange, first of all, let's start. Is this change a done deal?
It is, and it isn't. That's actually what makes this story so fascinating. It raises broader questions about that can actually be about things that can be applied to other places and other cities, about how transportation is changing our times and how it has to because of climate change, about those that live in city centers or the suburbs, about those that commute by car or by public transport, and of course there is the political quagmire of it all too. Who decides it all? And when it comes to Paris, well, it is a sac de nœuds, or a can of worms. But first, the nitty-gritty of this change. Work on Paris's ring road is done in the middle of the night. And in the early hours of today, October 1st, the 70-kilometer-an-hour signs were replaced by 51s. They did this on a first portion of the périph, or the périphérique. Over the next 10 days, Paris, which is in charge of this circular highway, well, it will change all 160 speed signs along this 35-kilometer road that encircles Paris. So you'd think end of story there. As of October 10th, the entire speed limit will be 50. But no, there continues to be a political fight going on about whether this is a good idea.
Right. So this fight, we have on the one hand the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo. Who is she pitted against?
Well, first and foremost, citizens. A lot of people do not like this move. It is creating ire of many car users, especially those that live outside of the ring road, which accounts for 80% of the greater population of Paris, of the Paris region. Anne Hidalgo is only in charge of 2 out of those 12 million people, and most that use the périph, they actually live in the suburbs. So many say that she is making this decision unilaterally, namely the regional president, Valérie Pécresse, says this. She is against the move. She says that there is no study that shows that proves that it lowers pollution. We'll get to this in 1 minute. She's now ordered that studies be made public about air and sound pollution. There's also the prefect of police. He has said he's going to consult the legality of the change before lowering the threshold of the speed radars. And that's important because if the speed radars do not work, well, then the change is purely symbolic. Also, there are laws to change, like the permission for scooters for them to go between cars. The newly elected transportation minister said that he's actually against this change, but he said that judicially, in regard to the courts, it is Paris's domain. After a meeting between him and Anne Hidalgo last Friday, they essentially agreed to disagree and to let Paris do their thing and then meet again in a year's time.
Right. So it sounds like the move is sort of going ahead despite an ongoing political fight. I mean, but why has the Paris Town Hall been so adamant about pushing this change through?
Well, there are 3 main reasons that they've put forth. Air pollution, sound pollution, and accidents. Let's go in reverse order from the least to most controversial. Security-wise, CERIMA, the Center on Studies of Risk, they say the impact at 70 kilometers is twice that of an accident at 50 kilometers. So it is safer. And also, when the speed limit dropped from 80 to 70 kilometers in 2014, well, there were 15% fewer accidents. That's great for drivers, but it also could potentially mean fewer traffic jams, so less CO2 in the air. Then there's sound pollution, which is a major problem in Paris. Some 500,000 people live near this ring road. Many cannot open their windows because of the noise. The drop is expected to lower sound pollution by a few decibels, especially at night. Here, Valérie Pécresse says that special asphalt would work better than lowering the speed limit. But Paris's town hall has said around half of the périph already has this material. It's costly, and it stops being effective after 10 years. And then finally, there is air pollution. Those against the move say that it's going to create even more traffic on the road, where already during the day the average speed is 37 kilometers an hour. So that's actually below the 50 kilometer limit. There's a strong argument here. CERIMA, the risk group, well, it has shown that CO2 pollution is a U-shaped curve. At very low speeds, a traffic jam, in essence, there's more pollution. But lowering your speed from, say, 130 kilometers to 110, well, it does reduce emissions. From 70 to 50, well, there could be more pollution, actually, but at least at first. But City Hall says that it doesn't take into account the bigger picture of people traveling differently, of no longer using their cars, and that does reduce pollution.
This motorway is absolutely out of date. It makes a lot of noise. It generates a lot of pollution. It will evolve, and that's what we're trying to do. It's a first step. This sign behind me marks this evolution. Soon, the Olympic lane will become a dedicated carpooling lane, all of which will also contribute to the development of a more peaceful city, a city where we can breathe easier, a city where we can sleep better. And that's what we're trying to achieve today.
Now, as we just heard, the move is just one of the city's steps to make Paris a greener, climate-friendly place. There is a high occupancy lane that they want to install. Parking is more expensive as of today for SUVs. If you go further back than today, Paris has been transformed in recent years with bike lanes, bus lanes, car-free zones. City Hall wants the périph, this ring road, to become like any other boulevard or avenue in the city. That may seem impossible right now. It is, in fact, the most used road in Europe with over 1 million cars per day. But there are precedents. Cities like Seoul, New York, San Francisco, they have made major changes to their freeways that cut through their cities. Such a move could also break down a division of class that exists between those that live inside Paris and those that do not. But with all of the political infighting between so many actors, well, such changes are definitely making a lot of noise.
It's fascinating stuff, Solange. Thank you so much for telling us about that. I'm curious to see how it plays out in the coming months and years. Thank you very much. France 24's Solange Moujin.